Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is set in the same world as Three Houses, which is my favorite game and setting in the series, so you bet your sweet bippy I'm gonna examine every gorgeously constructed pixel. The trailer opens up with a big shot of a city surrounded by water, with bridges extending outward, most likely for traveling and trade routes. The way these bridges extend in all directions means the city might be a central point of trade between several nations. Let's go ahead and take a look at this map of Fodlan from Three Houses. Now, Fodlan may very well extend beyond this map, but this is all we really have to work with for now. I believe the city in Fortune's Weave might be located around here. It's surrounded by water, and this location would allow trade routes between Almyra, Morpheo, the Leicester Alliance, and the Adrustian Empire. These next few scenes show us an arena with seemingly Roman architecture. People are gathered and waiting in the stands. We cut to two important characters with colored hair. Their colored hair lets you know how important and Fire Emblem they are. These characters are most likely nobles who are here to witness this event. Above them appears a very handsome man who refers to himself as the Divine Sovereign. He announces the beginning of an event called the Heroic Games, which I assume means that this Fire Emblem is going to have a tournament arc. In between this speech, we get glimpses of other characters. First is a shot of Cai on the ground. This looks like some kind of early game scene where he might bump into someone important and fall to the ground. My guess is that he bumped into Theodora. The next glimpse is Theodora being transported through the city. Then a shot of Dietrich in some sort of wagon or ship in the rain carrying a hero's relic with the Crest of Lemine. Shout out to Fargus for spotting that. If Dietrich has the Crest of Lemine, that would make him either a predecessor or a descendant to Mercedes and Yuritsa from Three Houses, because crests are passed down through the blood. They all have the same hair color too. And the last glimpse is of Leda, just standing there with that awesome design of hers. Near the end of the trailer, the Divine Sovereign also says, "For those who stand upon the final stage, I shall grant you whatever wish you may desire." The word "those" being plural, meaning everyone will be working in teams as they fight in the tournament. We see this in the gameplay itself. This Divine Sovereign's word must carry a lot of weight to make people go to battle over the promise of a wish. I mean, the guy has a statue of himself in the city, so I'm pretty sure this guy demands a lot of respect. But also, for what reason would he be offering this in the first place? Tradition? Entertainment? Or maybe he has some kind of ulterior motive. I will say, despite how handsome he is, I don't 100% trust this guy. Also, look at his ears. I'm pretty sure he's dragonkin, and we all know most dragons in Fire Emblem are not good people. We see a shot of Cai and his friend, who we will dub Girl with Glasses. Cai's sole reason for participating in the tournament is to save his father's life. But this is Fire Emblem. We all know his dad ain't long for this world. While Cai's in the marketplace, you can look at the fruit off on the side. The fruit in this game has definitely been upgraded from what it looked like in Three Houses. And Kai's the only character we've seen so far that allows us to control him while we're exploring the city. Kai's class is Flying Orneus Rider. During combat, he rides a big emu chicken bird, which grants him enhanced movement, allowing him to move 5 spaces. In the bottom left, you can see what terrain he's running on, which will be important to know for terrain bonuses. He uses spears and swords. And in this menu, we can see that durability is coming back. Also in this menu, we can see stats, like our physical damage stat, our hit percentage, our critical hit chance percentage, a new curse stat, which I have no idea what it does. I skimmed through the gameplay shown throughout the trailer, but none of the weapons on screen had any kind of value next to this curse stat. So, as of right now, it's a bit of a mystery. Of the Emblem. I think only die-hard Fire Emblem fans are gonna get that joke. Comment if you got that joke. The rest of the stats are our attack speed, our avoidance stat, the range of this weapon, and the skill requirement of this weapon. But let's rewind a little bit and look at our combat options. Combat arts make a return from Three Houses. These are significantly more powerful attacks that cost a bit more durability than your basic attacks, but alongside them are blaze arts. These new arts seem to be unique to each character and provide useful abilities that can help you in a variety of ways. But unlike combat arts, you don't spend durability to use them. You spend your own HP. After a character uses these blaze arts, it fills up some of this gauge in the top left, which I assume is called a blaze gauge. Some blaze arts require more than just HP. For example, Leda's blaze art Song of Beasts requires that her blaze gauge be halfway full on top of its 11 HP cost. But in exchange, not only does it summon a powerful beast to aid her in battle, but it also gives her +4 to her blaze gauge, which probably means this character is almost always going to be topped up on blaze, to sing her various songs. We don't get to see any of Cai's blaze arts in this trailer, but for now, let's take a look at this game's battle menu and break it down. Cai is attacking this Thundercloud Knight, dang that's such a cool name for an enemy, who is a charioteer, that's a new class. Below each person's portrait, you can see what equipment they have. Cai has one empty slot, that's probably where a shield might go, and below that, he's wielding a bronze spear. You can press the corresponding button on the slot to change weapons, which might change the outcome of this attack. Quick side note, I'm not sure if the weapon triangle is making a return in this game. In this shot, Cai is attacking this bow user with a spear, which tells me nothing. In this shot, Dietrich is attacking this sword user with a sword, which also tells me nothing. Theodora uses a gambit, and Leda uses a blaze art. So as of right now, there's no evidence to confirm or deny the return of the weapon triangle. But personally, I don't think it's coming back, because this game is following in the shoes of Three Houses, which sold really well, so they're following a lot of its notes, you know what I mean? And Three Houses had no weapon triangle. But let's continue breaking down these battle details. Here's the juicy part. If you're unfamiliar with Fire Emblem, this might just look like a bunch of numbers and gobbledygook. But let me take you to Fire Emblem school real quick. On the top and bottom, you can see how much health a character has. These two arrows show that Cai will attack twice during this battle, each attack dealing 9 damage. At the bottom, you can see the enemy's health flashing. This is how much health the enemy will have after Cai's attack. But all these arrows have two important things that you need to pay attention to: hit and crit. The numbers below them are percentages. Each one of Cai's attacks have a 100% chance to hit and a 44% chance to inflict a critical hit. The amount of damage that a critical hit will do is not shown in the battle menu, but if the battle menu tells you that you're going to deal 9 damage with one attack, and that one attack ends up doing 27 damage after you initiate the attack and literally says the word critical, that's a critical hit. On the battle menu, most of the time, you'll see arrows coming from the enemy as well, which means the enemy will counterattack you if you attack them. But if you can finish them in one strike before they counterattack, then you don't have to worry about their counterattack. But be careful, your attacks can miss. That's what the hit percentage is for. Landing a basic attack costs your weapon 1 durability. And those are the basics of basic combat. But of course, characters and enemies have classes, passive abilities, combat arts, blazing arts, gambits, terrain bonuses, and so on and so forth, which all enhance combat. But as long as you know the basics, the rest shouldn't be too hard to pick up. I would try to explain it all, but this isn't a how to play Fire Emblem video. Plus the game hasn't been released yet, so mechanics like combat arts and gambits might work a bit differently than they did in Three Houses. Plus I don't want to assume how they will work in this game. Moving on, again, shout out to Fargus for pointing this out. Cai here possesses the Crest of Aubin, and since crests are passed down through the blood, this makes Cai either a descendant or a predecessor of Yuri from the Ashen Wolves in Three Houses. They also both have purple hair too, although they do have different eye colors. Yuri's is purple while Cai's is amber. If the Crest of Aubin in this game possesses the same ability that it did in Three Houses, then Cai will be able to occasionally prevent counterattacks when using a weapon. What's also interesting about the Crest of Aubin is that it is described as a crest long lost to history, which means this game could be that lost history. But there's one more crest in this scene. Shout out to GVG for finding this. If you zoom in on this spot here, you can see the Crest of Fraldarius, the same crest of House Fraldarius, the same house that Felix belonged to in Three Houses. Let's take a look at some of the background characters here. I'm assuming this character is going to be a mage or a healer. I love how this character is dressed like a healer, but is actually a brawler. This is another character whose design screams healer, but they are in fact a brawler. This character looks like a Myrmidon. I'm pretty sure that's Cai's friend, the girl with glasses. I think she's either a mage or a healer. This character over here is also either a mage or a healer. This character is an archer, and that's Dietrich, who's actually on your team. Next, we see Theodora tearing up the battlefield and saying the word strength 5 times.
What I seek is a great strength, an unyielding strength for any foe, sheer strength to uphold the faith I hold dear. Above all, I need the strength to lead my people. Strength enough for a queen!
So it's safe to say that her noble class, which uses spears and swords, revolves around strength. Here, she uses a gambit called Disturbing Strike, which has 2 uses, an attack zone of 5 spaces, and inflicts Immobilize on foes. And if Immobilize does the same thing here that it does in Fire Emblem Fates, then it reduces the enemy's movement to 0, and also reduces their avoid by 20. That's a pretty good gambit. As for these background characters, this one looks like the Myrmidon that was in the arena with Cai. This one looks like a flying Orneus rider, which means that Cai's class may not exactly be unique. And judging by the eye patch, this one might be a pirate, which I don't think I've seen a pirate class since New Mystery of the Emblem. I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't really get a good look at this character, and I haven't seen him in any other part of the trailer, so I can't determine what class he is, but he's holding a shield and he looks kind of bulky, so I mean he might be like a tank class, like an armored knight or something. This next scene is of Dietrich scaring this merchant behind him. Though I'm pretty sure he's not intentionally threatening him as his sword is sheathed in this shot, the way the background moves makes me think that this takes place on a ship during a storm. We cut to some Dietrich gameplay, and in the top left we can see that his class is Myrmidon, and in the bottom left we see a weather icon letting us know that it's raining. Rain could work like it did in Fire Emblem 7, where it reduced everyone's movement except for flying units, but only time will tell. The game's not out yet. We don't know. I don't know. We see Dietrich using his Blazar Moving Shadow, a teleportation ability which can warp him up to 3 spaces away. It costs 7 HP and fills his blaze gauge by 1. He attacks with his sword, Answerer, and on this battle screen we can again see that he has the Crest of Lamine. Now, I don't believe this crest will have the same effect as it did in Three Houses, because its effect in Three Houses was focused on healing magic, and considering the fact that Dietrich doesn't appear to possess any magical spells, the crest most likely has a different effect in this game. As his attack animation begins, his skill Murderous Intent activates. Yuritsa from Three Houses also possessed the skill, and if it possesses the same ability in this game that it did in Three Houses, then it will grant him plus 20 to his hit chance when he initiates combat. I would try to identify everybody's skills in this game, but the icons for the skills seem to be different than they were before. These skills might have brand new icons for this game. Let's check out these background characters. This one's an axe user, so he might be an armored knight or a brigand. This one uses a spear, so they might be a soldier. This is that tome user from the arena that was with Cai that might be a mage or a healer. And there's that Myrmidon guy again. Man, he sure gets around. In this next scene, we get a brief glimpse of what seems like a flashback of a younger version of Leda during some tragic event. After this, Leda goes on to explain her disdain for a certain man. As for who that man is, or what he did, we're not sure. In this scene, we can see that she's going to dance before an audience, and she has not one, but 2 guitarists at her side. She herself is a guitarist who uses her blaze gauge in battle to play a variety of songs. The only one we get to see is the Song of Beasts, which I already covered earlier. Now, we don't know what crest Leda possesses yet, but some have theorized that she might have the Crest of Timotheos, like Happy from Three Houses, because of her ability to summon beasts. I think the beast itself, named Leda's Demonic Beast, will stick around for a minute when summoned and isn't just an attack. There's no enemy in the space where she's summoning it, so it might act autonomously and might even be able to draw aggro away from you and your party members. We can see that the terrain Leda is standing on is called the Woods, which is granting her a bonus 20% to her avoidance. Her class is Hunter, though we don't get to see what weapons she's proficient with. There's not many background characters here, but let's go over them. There's an axe user over here who I haven't seen in any other scene yet. A tome user over here whose portrait I can barely make out because it only appears when this menu pops up, but I also haven't seen this character in any other scene in this trailer. Beside that character, however, it looks like we can see 2 characters here who look like Cai and the girl with glasses. I want to go ahead and point out that each of these characters has a banner next to their name during combat. I'm not sure what the significance of these banners are yet. They could be the nation they're from or the team they're fighting for in the tournament. We'll have to wait and see. The next scene shows Cai trying to protect the girl with glasses by holding up his hand as a glowing mark appears on it. This mark doesn't share the same design as his crest, so it may not be related to it. Not a lot is shown about these 2 characters. They could be important later on. We'll need to see more. We see Dietrich holding his blade up to the throat of this man who looks like he's chewing on a stick of cinnamon. Whoever this guy is, I really hope his whole personality isn't centered around food or candy. We also see Dietrich fighting that brawler who was with Cai from earlier, and she's just straight up trying to pistol whip him with a magic handgun. As jarring and funny as this is, I'm honestly not surprised to see this. In the world of Fodlan, the Agarthans used all kinds of futuristic tech, like mechanized golems, automated lightning turrets, and magic light missiles. I don't think a simple magic handgun is too far out of the realm of possibility for them. I'm not saying this brawler is associated with those who slither in the dark. I'm just saying this technology exists in Fodlan. Shout out to GVG again for spotting this, but this next character that's shown for a brief moment is wearing a necklace that has the crest of Noah on it. The same crest possessed by Constance from Three Houses. If we ever fight with or against this character, they might have some kind of affinity for magic, as the crest of Noah's ability in Three Houses is associated with magic attacks. In this next scene, we see Leda using a sword. Her class is Hunter, so I'm just gonna hazard a guess that she's proficient with swords and bows. Why bows? Because the sprite next to her class is holding a bow. We see a character who I'm pretty sure is Theodora standing below a throne. As for who's sitting on the throne, I'm not sure. It's followed by this awesome shot of her commanding a volley of arrows. That's some serious wallpaper potential. Next, we see Cai being held down by some guards, Dietrich drawing his blade on a ship, Leda dancing, and Theodora being transported through the city, and then an overlook of what I'm assuming is her army marching through the city, most likely on their way to the tournament. We get the title, and then a scene of adult Sothis sitting on a throne. If you look at the bottom here, we can see that she isn't alone in this room, and that there are people in robes beneath her, which means this isn't inside your mind this time. This is at the actual throne that Rhea had Byleth sit on in Three Houses. This, I think, is the biggest piece of evidence to suggest that this game is a prequel set a few centuries before Three Houses. Personally, I would like for it to be a sequel, so I would love to be proven wrong, throw all the evidence at me, but the only problem with this game being a sequel would be that Nintendo would have to make one of the 4 endings of Three Houses canon, and I'm pretty sure that would rub a lot of players the wrong way, as a lot of players would be very attached to their favorite ending. It would definitely be the safest move for Nintendo to make this game a prequel. But hold your horses, don't click away just yet, because I've got one more big detail I want to cover about this game, and that detail is that every character has access to storage, or as it's known in Three Houses, the convoy. Usually only the main character has access to storage, but we can see that each one of these characters has access to it, which means one of two things. One, this game has multiple paths like Three Houses, but instead of choosing a lord to side with, you would be choosing a lord to play as, playing through their path to see their side of the story. I personally hope that this is true, as it would add a lot of replayability. Or 2, it's similar to Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. That game had 2 primary main characters, Micaiah and Ike, whose perspectives you would swap between as you progressed through the story. However, I think this is unlikely, because juggling 4 main characters would be a lot for the player to keep up with and wouldn't add as much replayability as adding multiple paths to play through. But either way, I just think it would be cool if this game focused on actual characters in the world and story, like in Shadows of Valentia, instead of player self-insert avatars like Awakening, Fates, and Three Houses. Not saying it's bad. I've just grown a little tired of myself, being the chosen one. Hell, I think it would be 10 times more epic if I was just a normal soldier in the army. But that's all I was able to glean from this trailer. Hopefully this game doesn't go through the same delays Three Houses did when it first came out. I imagine it won't, because I heard that Intelligent Systems is working with their own engine now instead of Koei Tecmo's Warrior engine. But are you as excited as I am about this game? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.